I'm speaking today with Raya Alsukharyi, an MBA at Cleveland State University, graduating in December 2023. Raya also graduated in 2022 with a BS in Business Administration, also from Cleveland State, and minors in both entrepreneurship and marketing. Welcome, Raya.
Thank you.
So was the Entrepreneurship Center at Cleveland State University or the entrepreneurship minor program, was that a factor in your deciding to attend Cleveland State University?
Well, yeah, you could say that, but at the same time, it's not, because Cleveland State University was the reason why I chose it, because I have already family members who were students previously here.
Mhm.
But I've always wanted to become an entrepreneur. So when I found out that Cleveland State had an entrepreneurship minor, I jumped right on it, and I thought it was a great opportunity. And so far, if I go back in time, I would still choose the same minor.
What are the requirements of the minor in entrepreneurship at Cleveland State?
Well, I am actually not sure about that, because I was a transfer student from Cuyahoga Community College.
Mhm.
So I know that there are prereqs for some of the courses for the entrepreneurship minor, but as far as I remember, it was that you had to get 3 core classes, which is 3 credit hours per class, totally in 9 credit hours, and then you can get 1 extra class that you could choose from a bunch of other classes in the entrepreneurship program.
So it's a total of 4 courses.
As far as I remember, I'm not sure.
Is there a practicum requirement or some kind of experiential learning requirement as part of the minor as well? For example, was there an internship requirement? Could you be an intern at a startup? Did
Oh,
you have to participate in an accelerator, for example? Some kind of non-curricular, non-class experiential learning or a practicum that
yeah.
was also part of earning the minor.
Yeah, well, no, it's not a requirement
Mhm.
to do an internship, but there are internship courses that you could actually combine with the program. I already did an internship with a company called Malco Products Incorporation, and I did the internship through the Global Center here in Cleveland State as well.
And so did that give you credit towards achieving the minor?
It did.
Okay. Oh, excellent. What resources or what other resources do you use at the Cleveland State Center for Entrepreneurship?
Well, as resources go, my mentors, which is my professors who taught me my internship and my entrepreneurship classes, I still talk to them and go to them until this day.
So the Entrepreneurship Center has a network of mentors that you can engage with. Is that one of the
Yes.
resources of the center?
Yes.
Okay. Have you participated in any of the competitions?
I did.
Which one?
I did startup bikes last year.
Right. And so that was your senior year as an undergraduate, correct?
Yes.
How did you do?
Well, I did not win, but I didn't participate in that competition for winning. it was, I feel like I left the competition with so much knowledge and so much experience that I did in 3 days, and so much stress. Let me tell you that it was such a stressful experience, but I still remember how much um, thrill and happiness I felt after that competition ended. Even though I did not win, two of my classmates won first place and second place. So it felt like if I was winning, but then I left there with a lot of connections, a lot of network, like my network got bigger. I got introduced to so many other mentors that helped me out so much. And also I left the competition meeting two new girls who were working with me in my team. And it was a great experience. And I am planning on doing it again this year, like again in the fall.
So what did you learn? What were the key takeaways? Was it the presenting in public? Was it crafting your story?
Mhm.
What were the key learning takeaways from that competition?
Well, I'm gonna start by saying that the first thing that I learned is it's okay to pivot. Completely okay. Having an idea and changing it doesn't mean that you're failing in any way. That was my first thing that I felt when I had to pivot my idea. The second thing that I learned was even when I stand up in public, everybody else is human just like me. So it's okay to be nervous, but it shouldn't affect me because I remember I was so nervous and super stressed. And but then the minute I stood up on that stage looking at people, and even though it wasn't like a full, like wasn't full with people, but it just, the minute I stood up there, I just felt okay. I'm doing it, and it went smoothly. So it's always like the nerves before. And then another thing that I learned throughout that experience is you might meet a lot of people there that they might not align with your ideas or what you want, but sometimes you actually could learn if you keep an open mind. You can learn a lot of things from them. And then the last thing that I learned is planning, always the best way to go with anything, like in total. So yeah, and also customer discovery. Customer discovery, it's one of the most important things for a startup because it's the only thing that's going to help you if you have a chance or if you need to pivot, and it helps you like have a target market and segment your market, and it's actually really helpful. So yeah.
For customer discovery, how did you put together the interview questions or the information that you were asking of your potential customers?
Well, for the customer discovery, I started doing discovery really early on in the semester because I was already doing a class that is the business model canvas. So I was doing this class and I came up with this idea. So I was doing customer discovery every single week. And when I first started doing the questions and going and asking people, I wasn't doing that great.
Mhm.
I wasn't asking the right questions. I didn't know how to craft those questions. And then with practice, I became more, um, I'm not going to say experienced, but I knew the right questions that would help me target the right segmentation for my product. But yeah, and then as I said before, I had a great mentor in that class. I would go to her all the time, and she would help me like fix some stuff in the questions, and she would like tell me, okay, this question is not gonna work. Maybe this one would work, and she's the one who actually like pushed me towards even applying for startup bikes.
Um, were you an entrepreneur in high school?
Um, I wouldn't say so. I have made stuff for girls, and I would sell them at events and stuff like that, but I wouldn't call myself an entrepreneur at all in high school.
And how did you, early on, you said that you've always wanted to be an entrepreneur, but how did you discover the entrepreneurship programs and the center and other entrepreneurship resources that are available at Cleveland State? How were you introduced to those resources?
Um, Actually, that was through one of my advisors. When I applied for CSU and I got my acceptance letter, I was talking to one of CSU academic advisors, and I wasn't confused with what I wanted to do, but before we started choosing the classes that I wanted to do for that semester, she asked me a question. She said, before we start, what kind of future do you see for yourself?
Mhm.
So I started telling her what things I saw myself doing in the future. And one of them was becoming an entrepreneur. And then she said, okay, how about that? We do have a minor in entrepreneurship. Would you be interested in that with the marketing, since marketing is one of my passions as well?
Mhm.
And I said, yes, I would love doing it. I want that minor. And then I started taking those classes, and I would never go back. I like it.
So the actually your academic advisor
Hmm.
is also, in a way, a bit of a career advisor as well. Um,
Yes.
are 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 there two? Um, are there also career advisors available at Cleveland State in addition to your academic advisors, or are they a
There
combination?
is. No, there is a whole career center
Mhm.
here in
Okay.
Cleveland State where you can go and get help for your resumes. They could help you out with what you want to do. They could help you out even for applying for jobs.
Mhm. How does Cleveland State define entrepreneurship?
Oh, how does Cleveland State define entrepreneurship? Being creative, putting yourself out there, trying, not be afraid of failing, um, not be afraid of asking for help. Yeah, Cleveland State pushes us and every other student who has an idea of a startup. They push us to help us actually make this idea from just a small idea to actually have it in real life. And I've seen students, I've met a lot of students who did who took the entrepreneurship classes. I'm not talking about the minor, just the classes, and you see them. Some of them had ideas, great ideas. Some of them worked towards it. Some of them stopped. But from what I saw is CSU keeps they keep in touch with all of those students, and they help them, um, to encourage them to keep going with their ideas and support them if they needed the resources and all of that.
Raya, how do you define what an entrepreneur is?
Oh, wow. To me, entrepreneur is somebody who is willing to take the risk and making their idea or their startup a actual thing in real life. Um, in entrepreneurship might actually be successful, and sometimes they might fail, but that's what makes us entrepreneurs, because we're taking risks when we're trying. So yeah, that's pretty much how I look at it. Being creative and being courageous, taking the risk, and being a leader, And I think that's one of the most important things for being an entrepreneur is taking lead. So yeah.
What are the benefits of having the minor in entrepreneurship on your transcript?
Because as I said before, one day in the future, I want to become an entrepreneur myself. So having that there would make me more knowledgeable than just jumping into an idea or into a business without knowing all the fundamental knowledge that I would need.
If you decide to, say, work for a startup for, a period, how will the certificate in entrepreneurship benefit you when you are applying and working for a company that is not your own concept?
As I said before, the planning, the business model canvas was such a helpful tool to learn about. It would help a lot with a startup. So if I was hired at a startup, I would definitely apply all of those things. But knowing myself, I would always take the initiatives and I'm always going to try to take the lead. So knowing that, I'm probably want to try and see if there was weakness points in that startup and I might try to fix it. If there was like strength points in there, I might actually try to like embrace those things and I might look for more opportunities to develop that company or that startup.
Excellent. Entrepreneurship has evolved significantly over the last 10 years. There are now a number of accepted terms and tools and methodologies. I have a list of them, and I'm going to just go down the list, read them off, and I'd like you to let me know whether you're familiar with that term.
Sure.
And what that term means to you.
Okay.
Okay. So first, lean startup.
No.
Okay. Minimum viable product.
Yes.
What does that mean to you?
It means to me that the first, it's like a prototype. The first product that you produce. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect, or exactly what you plan for, but it should be like the first prototype of your idea.
And what is the purpose of that minimum viable product?
Well, after going through startup bikes, it was for the pitch mostly.
Okay.
To convince people.
Design thinking.
I am familiar with it, but I don't know how to explain it.
Okay. Is it something that is presented in any of your classes? Is it a concept that is taught in any of your classes?
No, but I've read it somewhere in one of my readings.
Jobs to be done.
No, then.
Okay. Systems thinking.
No.
We've already covered customer discovery in quite some depth. The 5 whys.
No.
Okay. Business model canvas, again, we covered in great depth. Are you familiar with the mission model canvas?
No.
Okay. Fail fast.
No.
Okay. All right. What do you see, Raya, as the difference between a commercial startup and a social impact endeavor?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Yes. What do you see as the difference between a commercial startup and a social impact endeavor?
I'm not sure that I actually understand it.
Let's just say a social impact endeavor, something that is not for profit, that is intended to benefits of society or
Mm-hmm.
any culture in any way
Mm-hmm.
versus a commercial startup, which is, something that we're more familiar with, that is maybe venture backed. What do you see as the difference between the two?
Mainly, I'm gonna say that one is mainly profitable, like for profit. The other one is non-profit. One would be based on making profit, and that'd be the main focus. Where a non-profit um, social companies, it's probably gonna be more for the society and more to give back than making money and
Mhm.
profit.
Are the social impact endeavors, are those presented as part of your entrepreneurship minor? Did they come up in any of the courses that you took?
As the word itself, social impact, no. I've
Mhm.
never heard of this word before. However, for as nonprofit, yes.
Okay. And how were nonprofits presented versus, say, for-profit startups?
Um, well, this is the for-profit ones were more presented because, as I said, for become to most people, becoming an entrepreneur is making a company or to make profit and make money out of it, right?
Mhm.
But so the focus was more on those companies than the nonprofit.
Um, is there another term besides entrepreneurship or entrepreneur that we should be using? And the reason that I'm asking that question, Raya, is that um, entrepreneurship may have certain negative connotations as being exclusive, as not being embracing for all. Uh,
Mhm.
it's is do you see entrepreneurship as something that is for, somebody else and not for you?
No, not at all. I think entrepreneurship could be for anybody, but not anybody can be an entrepreneur, for sure.
Um, did either of your parents start or run a business?
And no,
Okay.
none of them.
Um, are you connected with a mentor or an alumna or alumnus of Cleveland State currently?
Like
Do you
related
engage
to?
on a regular basis with a mentor?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
More than one, or is it one
Yes.
in particular?
Well, I do engage with my mentor, it's my professor who taught me a business model canvas. Her name is
Mhm.
Lynn, and also I am working with a trade advisor, which is the director of the global center here in Cleveland State. And I do engage a lot with the Western Ideation Lab, where it's mainly about the entrepreneurship.
So is so, when you have a question, there are resources and individuals, subject matter experts that are readily available to you to, pursue any questions
Yes,
or ideas that you might have.
yes,
Right. After you graduate, will you stay connected to the university as a mentor yourself for
yes,
future entrepreneurship
for
minor
sure,
participants?
for sure. I'm actually doing so right now, not as a mentor, but as a fellow student.
And in what capacity? So it's, what does that mean to be a mentor to a fellow student who is pursuing a minor in entrepreneurship?
Well, there's when I started, I didn't have people who I could relate to, right? To go to them and ask them about the program or the classes or get help. But this semester in the business model Canvas class, I was one of the speakers in that class to introduce myself and my idea and my experience in my in the entrepreneurship minor and in that class. And based on that, I made friends with a lot of the people, a lot of the students in that class, which some of them came to me and asked me and showed me their ideas, showed me what they did, and asked me about how they could improve their customer discovery questions. And today, actually, Lynn, which is the professor of the class, she asked for my help to help one of her students to brainstorm some ideas. So
And
yeah.
so, Raya, what do you see as the difference between peer mentoring, which
Mhm.
I guess that's what you were
Yes.
describing,
Mhm.
peer mentoring, and then say mentoring with an alumnus or with a faculty member? What are the, why is it different? Why, what are the benefits of peer mentoring?
Peer mentoring is basically easier for a student to talk to somebody in his level, I want to say,
Mhm.
and it would be easier for them to talk more openly about their struggles and what they're struggling with. And they might have tips or tricks to each other. And that's mainly why peer mentoring is great. On the other hand, having a faculty member as a mentor, to me personally, it is a huge like, I don't know how to say that word, but it's like it's a sea of knowledge. So to me, those mentors, they have the experience. They have, for example, Lynn, she was in entrepreneurship herself. She had her own business. And when she was teaching that class, she didn't teach it because it came out of a book. She taught this class because of an experience. And that to me gets makes the students understand more than going off of scripts, right? So
Mhm.
going off the experience, going off of the struggles that she faced and all of the things that she did to fix a problem that happened during the actual launch or something like that.
So is the minor available to any student from any discipline? You were a BS, Bachelor of
Mm-hmm.
Science, in business administration
Mm-hmm.
when you earned your minor in entrepreneurship. But is the minor available to, any student from any discipline at Cleveland State University?
I am not sure about, I'm not sure if the minor is available to them as a minor, but I know that they can add some of the entrepreneurship classes,
Did
whether
you
they had the minor or not.
did you meet any students from other disciplines who were majoring in had other majors from across Cleveland State when you were pursuing your minor?
Um, no, most of the students that I was working with, if they were graduate students doing MBA, then they probably had, and most of them had like an engineering
Mhm.
background in the undergrad. However, most of the other students that I had in my classmates, they were all majoring in business majors and minors, but none of them were majoring something else.
So let's just say that I am a psychology major at
Mm-hmm.
Cleveland State University. And, I came to you and said, Raya, should I pursue a minor in entrepreneurship? Would that be a benefit to me? And how would that, dovetail with my psychology major?
If I'm not gonna be talking about the university requirements because I'm not sure if that would apply or not. But as a fellow student, if I get asked that question, if the entrepreneurship minor would go with psychology, then yes, I think the entrepreneurship minor is a really, really, really great minor for people who see themselves in the future as entrepreneurs, if they are willing, or if they want to pursue that and come up with a business or an idea, and they want to develop that in the future, then yes. So for the psychology major student, if in the future she was willing to come up with, if she had an idea to come up with an app to do like online sessions, or she wanted to start up her own like psychology clinic, then yes, it would help a lot. The information there, it would help just like an idea that lit up in your head to actually go through stages until it becomes a actual thing that you could see and feel.
Did pursuing further the concept of the psychology majors are very adept at doing research with humans.
Mhm.
Would you, for your future startup, would you hire someone who is a psychology major to conduct some of your customer discovery?
Well, yeah, why not? It would be an actual great thing, because psychology does actually, when I was doing my customer discovery, reading people beyond their words is really important for customer discovery. So yeah, I would.
Mhm. Are there any questions, Raya, that I should have asked you about the minor in entrepreneurship program at Cleveland State?
Um, well, you could ask me if I think there should be more requirements for that minor, like more like required classes to take than electives, and I would say yes. I would have loved to have more classes in the entrepreneurship program. I would love to have learned more. I would have loved if I got, like, I finished all the classes that I needed and I got a lot of information and a lot of knowledge. But I think as an entrepreneurship minor, there should be more required classes for the students to like understand a lot, even about like financial parts of it, even though as a business student, you do take finance, you do take accounting, you do take all of those classes. However, when you become an entrepreneur as a startup, you're not having all the resources that you need. So maybe learning that in the entrepreneurial aspect would be actually really, really helpful.
I could earn my minor, taking the
Mhm.
4 required minimum courses.
Mhm.
I could take additional courses as well. Would that not be available to me?
No, you can actually. But here's the thing, like as a student, especially with me as an international student, it is really expensive to take extra classes that I might not need to graduate, right? But as I said, I graduated with my undergrad and I immediately came back to school a month later. And I am working in school as well as a graduate assistant.
Mhm.
And the reason why I'm doing that, because I wanted to stay connected in the business school, and I want to be connected to those mentors so I can actually still get all the experience, and I could have them here mentoring me and helping me learn more, whether it was on a class level or as a personal level.
Raya, thank you so very much for answering these questions.
You're welcome, and thank you for having me.
Your insights have been wonderful and greatly appreciated.
Thank you.